What's up? I'm Doc from SampleKings.com, and of course, this is our site inside of YouTube, or our channel, as they say. You can always join us here. We do a lot of videos of all kinds of software, of course, obviously. As you can see right here, everything's in here. Also, you can do a search within here. And we're giving away a bunch of samples when we hit 45,000 subscribers. So please subscribe and get those samples. Any questions, hit me up too as well. Let's continue with the video. So here, when I'm actually working with the MPC3.5 software on my computer, I have to make sure I've got everything lined up, and before I actually EQ anything, I want to make sure everything's going to work pretty smoothly. So first, I'm going to play the beat back. So this is what I normally will do. Okay, that works pretty cool for me right there, you know? Just a basic thing. So I want to make sure I'm doing pretty cool with that. I like it so far. And so what I want to do is look at this one here probably. Yeah, bounce out my bass from there with it. Come to this track here. Good. Okay, we're good. This one here too. Good. So I'm gonna get my basics working pretty cool. Now some stuff sounds too loud. I might want to give my bass drum some bump to it too as well. And I want to check this out. Everything comes to here, so all my sounds head right here. Now if you need any help with your MPC or machine or Pro Tools or Logic or whatever it is, we're here to help you. So go right down to here. You'll see in our website, it says summer sale, always on. And it says here, $20 an hour. That's all it is for a lesson per hour. And you see here, using Cash App is just $ Sample Kings. Using Venmo for a pay code is just Sample Kings. Now we had a problem with PayPal recently. They've gone up in price. So for using PayPal, it's $22 per hour. And this is my drum bus out. So all these sounds are my drums. And I'm sending them all to this one section here in the highway, we'll say, right? Okay, so on top of it, that's just one element. That's this right here. That's my LA2A leveling amp from Textronic. And this is from a popular company known as UAD, Universal Audio Devices. And I love the way this thing sounds. As you can see, it sounds quiet here. I'll turn it on. It made everything tighter. It pulled everything together with it. So what it's doing right now, is here's a compressor, right? We've got a gain here of about 35. And here we've got a peak reduction, reducing the peak. So right here, not going to zero, but right here with this whole idea of keeping it tight and compressing it. And we have a gain reduction right here. And this is on or off. So it's a very simple item to use. And here I can actually tweak the settings somewhat if I want to. And this is in default. I haven't done anything. I just loaded this thing in here. And it sounds pretty good to me. If I cut it off, you hear the difference. It's drastic here, right? And I will do this first before I do anything. I want to make sure I'm going to be good. Another thing I'll do is I'll bring this down before I start doing any kind of mixing or getting myself where I think it's going to sound decently. I'll bring this up to a point where I like it. I don't want to get above 3. The purpose of this is to have headroom. What we're doing here, we're creating headroom between 0 dB, which would be here, and this point right here, which is approximately 5.2. See that? 5 minus 5.2. So we're under the 0 dB ranges here. We need to have headroom and establish the headroom is going to be in the track. That's important for me always, constantly. So now if I come back here and turn this on like this, it's just butter. It's all right there for me. And I tend to want to make sure I've got this happening before I do anything else. And so now, what I'll normally do is pull up my EQs or something. What I love to do, what I tend to do also is to do this. I will come to here. I will go into my VST3. I'll pull up my favorite channel strip. A channel strip is very important. When you go to a recording studio, we're using channel strips. All right? That's a whole channel inside a mixing board. And we could have a 48 channel mixing board, 24, but there's a channel in each one of those slots in a 24 track mixing board. And so, for example, here I'm going to pull up the UAD SSL. Now, SSL is a great, here it is right here. This is awesome. It's SSL. I got this on a bass drum. And I will put this up on every instrument, because here I can do so much with one device rather than pulling up a compressor, an EQ, and all that kind of stuff. Here, I just got an EQ section, right? I can turn it on here. Here, I have dynamics. So here I got my compressor. My compressor's right here. My expander or gate is right here. I have my line in right here. I have filters down here. High frequency, high mid frequency, low mid frequency, and low. 4-band compression. This is great. And it's an easy way to work with your system. And so I'll do that. I may stop the overall track. Right? I'll come to here, get my track to stop. I'll come to here and I'll load something in. I'm on a bass drum. I'll come like this. I want to get that bass drum to be tight. I say, you know something? I want to hear a bunch of different bass drums. I'm hearing drums. I've also starred what I like. If I like this one here, I put a star there. I'm good. So it's always good to have a really good, solid EQ, compressor gate, all lined up in one thing. And I love the SSL. This is the SSL 4000E channel strip. Used to use this years ago, and you can't go wrong when you have this. It gives you a nice warm sound. So when I play this track and I go back to playing it back again, I'm going to be there. I can go to here and pull up the solo. Okay, what I want to do? That's a bright drum sound. I might want to go with this one. Or this. If I get to test them out. I always like that one so much. So I'm going to go to this one here. Right? I get the sound I like. I may want to pull some highs off of it. Or get my high mids to work. Pick the frequency. Or eliminate those sounds. And compensate for me adding too much dB. Some sort of gain reduction idea. You know, get that going on. Make my comparison between sounds. So I'm happy with that, kind of like. So I got another sound here. Pull this hi-hat down a little bit. So once I get my sounds, I like the way it sounds, I'll come back here again and I'll pull this off. I don't keep it on all the time. I want to make sure that's my compressor I want to use for the overall drum track. Now what I'll also do, I will go to my master. So for example, I'm here in my MPC, I come to here like this. I will go to my master output, which is right here. You see this is output right here, 1 and 2, right? I'll come here. I want to pop an EQ on top of this on my overall output. I prefer to have an EQ up on this sucker. So I'll come here. I want to go right down here before I would start mixing is to figure out the kind of EQ I want to use in this overall mix. I'll leave it there and I won't touch it. Now I'll take it off though and start mixing my tracks and give them their individual EQ. But first I want to make sure what my sound will probably be like. And I'm going to come down here. I'm going to use my hits fill right here. And I'll pick out what I'm going to use here. I want to get me a nice little sound. So I want to give me an overall main bus mix. This is the main stereo mix out. And I want to pick out what I want to use here, what kind of sound I want to feel is going to work. I'll just pick one. You heard that? Let me turn this off, actually. That's without that EQ. I'm going to turn the EQ on now. Hit a bass drum, hit bumpy right now. Got that bounce to it, right? Just from the EQ. I love that. I'll leave that there. I packed it in. So now I'm ready to start mixing. From this point on, I'm ready to go right to here inside the mixing console and mix the music up, right? But if I turn everything on and get an idea where the hell I'm at, I'll see what the hell what we're going to be doing here. And so I'll say, let me turn everything else on now. Okay, not bad. Let me see about the output now. That's with the EQ. Okay, you got that idea. Now I'm ready to mix. I'll turn all this stuff off. I'll turn off my master fader off here. Then I'm going to go right back into my, right here to the pad mixer. I'm going to turn off my LA2A right here, UAD device. And now I'm going to start EQing my tracks up and getting them where I want to get them at here. And then I'm ready to start mixing these tracks up. And then I'll make sure all these EQs are right and the levels are correct. And then I'll work on the overall output. And from there, all I got to do is put my compressor on the LA2A rather, and also turn on the hits fill EQ in the master output. And I can adjust my levels, but I already got an idea of what I like in my sound. Next lesson, I'm going to do mixing on it.